Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule cause you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, cause I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast, and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts, and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring, and George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
All right, that wasn't for me. What's good, my people? It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. You're watching the MC Too Tall Show. All right. You saw my video yesterday. Well, first of all, before I get into that, a very notable birthday today. Wendy O. Williams. Born this day in 1947. Many of you know her as the front woman for the punk band The Plasmatics. And you know her for jumping on stage in bra and panties, sawing TVs in half with a chainsaw, pushing burning Cadillacs off the stage. And in her cover of Kiss's It's My Life, she does a video where she drives a convertible off a cliff. And I happen to like her version better than Kiss. Sorry, Gene. Sorry, Paul. Rest in peace, Ace. Sorry, Peter. But I like Wendy O. Williams' version a little bit better there of the song It's My Life. She passed away from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in the woods in 1998 because she was very much against commercialism, and she didn't like what people who seized control of her music were doing with her music. But that being said, we're going to talk about the Democrats. So many level of hell, where belong the left? And crime runs rampant because of the Democrats. They are classless, they are dirty, rotten scoundrels and scallywags. And as I said, so many levels of hell, where belong these crevicing creatures? And people were very upset with the thumbnail. They didn't even take the time to watch the video. They were upset with the thumbnail of my video because I like to put the title of my videos in the thumbnail. And I put a picture of deceased veteran Kerry Sharon, who, as I mentioned in previous videos, was stomped on by a sicko leftist. And you had people saying, oh, he was MAGA, he was MAGA. This is the same thing that was said about Vance Boelter. This is the same thing that was said about Tyler Robinson. This is the same thing that was said about Thomas Matthew Crooks. And I want to say, and say it very clearly, and I printed it out on my Facebook as well, and I want to be very clear about this, so that you know that it is me that actually typed that on Facebook. I hereby state the well-known fact that Tyler Robinson was not MAGA. He's a fanatical leftist. Vance Boelter is not MAGA. He's a fanatical leftist. And Tim Walt's appointee, okay, who shot those two legislators because they didn't vote to appease leftist scum like himself. Okay? Thomas Matthew Crooks, on that day when he shot at Donald Trump, was a radical leftist loon. And I don't know how a 20-year-old kid's information could be scrubbed off the internet so fast. I could understand if a person's much older, their internet footprint is much lighter, but not a 20-year-old kid. No matter where you lean politically, the younger you are, the heavier your internet footprint is, the heavier your internet presence is, particularly on social media. And then they come to find that Thomas Matthew Crooks, although raised in a conservative family, radically and abruptly just swung the pendulum of his life left, donated to Democrats, and even was a sicko furry. Gotta be careful of these furries. They sometimes act like they have rabies. No exception to that rule, Thomas Matthew Crooks. And last but not least, this Thomas C. Butler, the 32-year-old man that stomped a 69-year-old veteran, Kerry Sharon, to death because he didn't like the American flags this man was displaying on his front property. Leftist. He was a fanatical leftist loon, scallywag scum who belongs in the pits of hell. And everybody likes to point the finger at the right saying they're Hitler, they're Hitler. But meanwhile, it's the left that commits the political violence as a Nazi would, as a fascist would, as a communist would, and as all of the above have done throughout history. So, Che Guevara committed political violence. He would drag people out of their house and blow their heads off right in front of their families because they caught wind. He caught wind of them saying, "Oh, you know this Castro guy? I don't care for him too much." Saying that in Cuba while Che Guevara was there would often cost you your life. And naturally, if you proudly display the American flag and several American flags, or even too many American flags to count, people like us would say, "Oh, kudos, thumbs up, salute the guy, proud patriot." But to others in this country, our own national flag is considered a hate symbol. And this is the only country in which that takes place. This is the only country in which there are citizens that hate their own national flag. So much that they're willing to kill someone who displays it. And again, this man was not MAGA, he was not conservative, He was not a moderate Republican. He was not even a never-Trumper Republican. He was a fanatical, radical leftist. A sicko. Another person going through life probably thinking he could kick my ass. Okay? Okay? I'm much younger than 69 years old, as you could probably tell. I'm a little more youthful than 69 years old. A lot of you probably can't even guess my age. I've mentioned my age a few times. I was born sometime prior to 1970. Just to give you a little scope of things. So, that's neither here nor there, though. The point I'm trying to say is that these four people that I mentioned, the left is lying to you, telling you that they're either MAGA, conservative, Republican, or Republican never-Trumpers. They're none of the above. These four characters are in their gang. They're leftists like them. And like them, took them marching orders by proxy, by radical, fanatical rhetoric, violent, fanatical rhetoric coming out of the mouths of people like Maxine Waters that say, I will take out Trump tonight. People like Chuck Schumer, they're saying, quote, I'm going to tell you, Gorsuch, I'm going to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwinds and you will pay the price. Pumping his fists. This sick rhetoric. AOC recently saying, pull up to the South. The North needs to pull up to the South. That's not going to go too well, okay? If people want to take home marching orders. But there's other examples. There's other examples. Nancy Pelosi. I'm surprised there isn't violence in the street. Maybe there will be. Or something to that effect, she said. You got to look it up. I'm not going to etch in stone that those were her exact words. So don't get technical on the exact wording of her sentence there with me. But she implied that she was hoping for something like that. Tim Walz, hoping that there'd be news. Obviously meaning that news he's hoping for is Donald Trump dying. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So many levels of hell. Where belong the left? Crime runs rampant because of the Democrats. The political violence comes from the left. The rhetoric calling for political violence comes from the left. Not only the politicians, but internet pundits like Fat Guy Yuga's nephew, Hassan Piker. As I said, talking about making conservatives' intestines right out on stage. Talking about landlords saying the streets should be soaked in their effing red capitalist blood. And the vicious, evil things that ugly witch Jennifer Welch says about innocent, grieving widow Erica Kirk. And teachers, educators showing up to protests, making fun of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck. Liberals must lose. Because of that, that's the reason why liberals must lose. And right along with them losing should also be the spineless Republicans that go along to get along, stick their necks out to compromise with these leftist loons across the aisle from them. You cannot reason with these people. You have to oppose these people on the Congress floor, on the Senate floor. You cannot work something out to be bipartisan, because years ago bipartisanship used to mean something. It used to mean Democrats and Republicans compromising for the betterment of America. And both sides had genuine intentions for the greater good of America. But the right was always right, the left was always wrong, but at least their wrong was well intended. But now, they want to see the failure, not of only their political opponents, but the people who support and vote for their political opponents. We're not supposed to be divided on this level. We're not supposed to be divided on this level, and yet we are. And I conclude it right there. Onto the I say, respect God, watch out for the Illuminati, like, follow, share, comment, subscribe, stay strong, keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building, hip-hop legend, recording engineer, underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Don't be gross.